This is where we'll spend a little bit of time. I want to make sure to discuss the write-ups. This is known as an internal RO. This will create an internal RO. So the cost of these items and these parts in the write-up will be added to the cost of the vehicle or the selling price. So if you'll notice, my contract price will change as I start adding parts into my part box. So I have an option to choose a part or a job. So let's go with part to begin with. And I don't know, maybe they want a specific type of hitch, some type of heavy duty hitch that they want. We'll go with this one, a Super Glide hitch that they want to add on. So we got one of those, and we'll click on the add button with the plus symbol. Okay, we're getting a pop-up message. Remember to always read your pop-up messages. In this case, it's telling me, hey, you don't have any of these in stock. So you need to order the hitch before you can install it. Okay. Now that part is in my part box. Okay, what about installation for that part? That's the job. So I'm going to put here, job, and I'm going to, I'll say hitch install included. And I'm not going to charge a price for that because I'm including that in the purchase price. So I'm going to go ahead and click the green plus symbol. And now you'll see the hitch install included has been added into my parts box. All right, please notice as my total of items has shown here in the lower right area, that amount has been added to my contract amount. So you see now I have a higher amount. This is because this is an internal RO. In order to create this RO, let's go ahead and save and then click on the wrench icon. The wrench icon is now going to populate and bring up the RO form for us to complete. Here is the RO that has been automatically assigned to this internal deal. So I've got an RO number that has automatically displayed along with today's date. And please notice the system has recognized this is an internal RO because we started it from the deal. So we see internal along with my name and location because I'm the person that signed in to EverLogic at this station. My drawer number will automatically display also. And I'd like to talk to you a moment about the status. This status field is an overall status for this RO. Okay, we're going to talk about a different status, the status of a job, in just a moment. But for now, we want to make sure we choose a status for the overall RO. For class purposes, I'm going to go ahead and choose closed filed. So in order for us to put this deal through our profit and accounting, we do need to make sure it's in a closed file status. So as I'm going through the steps on this RO, I will be closing everything out so we'll be able to do the profit accounting in part 2 of this lesson. All right, the next two fields are not bolded. They are not required. If your dealership chooses to track by customer PO and class type, you can make those entries here. The customer's name has automatically displayed for me. And then I would just also remind you about the customer. There are these flag icons. The green flag, as I hover over, indicates there is no alert at this time. But if there had have been an alert, you click on the flag and then it indicates notes on what type of an alert you would have here. Okay. We went through that in yesterday's class, So we'll go ahead and continue now. You see that the vehicle detail has automatically come over from our deal form. And down below we have our general information and cash out tab. So in the general information here, you can set up an appointment. If you do want to set a specific date, go ahead and check mark this radio button and then indicate the date and time. You can click here, yes, save it, and then this icon allows you to actually put a calendar appointment on your calendar. So let's just go ahead and say we're going to schedule this customer appointment. I don't know why you would mark a customer appointment as private, but you could mark it as private by clicking here. I can get a reminder. Let's go ahead. We've got our subject. She's got a scheduled appointment. Our start time being today. Let's say that it's going to be at 12:20 when she gets here. The end time we estimate will take about an hour. You can choose your category and make notes as necessary. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save, and just also mention that you can also email this reminder over to your customer if necessary. Okay. All right, so we've added in the appointment. You can now indicate the date of their purchase, their promised date for them to receive this. Let's go ahead and say we'll give it to them tomorrow. Okay. If there is mileage on when you took in the vehicle, along with the date and time that you took the vehicle in, and then your mileage out, along with the date out and time out time when you are no longer working on the vehicle, and then when did the customer get notified to come that the vehicle was ready. So who notified them and what date and time they were notified. And then any additional notes you can place here. Please indicate this is not a private note and may print on a receipt for your customer to see. So again, if it does not indicate it's a private note, it is not a private note. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save now. Let's take a look now at our cash out section, and this is an internal job, so we're going to use the payment type of internal. It is for the total amount, and then you hit Tab or Enter to get that figure into the payment box. You now see where this is going to be at a 0 amount, and then you can close it out. Before we close out on this, I do want to take you on to the service items just to show you where your hitch install has been added. Remember, we added that information already. There is one thing we need to do here. We need to add on a technician. Okay, you'll see here we've indicated that it took him actually an hour. We're going to pay him an hour, and we're billing at an hour. All of that here. And the one other thing we have to mark as completed in the job in order for us to go through profit accounting. Again, in order for you to go through profit accounting on this deal, the job has to be marked as completed, and we do have to cash out on this particular repair order. I would show you here the status of this individual job. We'll go ahead and put close, filed, and just pointing out you've got your job status here. That's for your individual job status. The status in the upper right-hand corner, that is the overall status for this repair order in general. Okay. All right, we do have some rates that's automatically displaying over to the far right, and then go to your parts item, and you see here is that Super Glide hitch that I chose from my deal window. If I did need to order it, which I did not have any in stock, so you can click here on this button to add it to a PO. You can add to an existing PO, or you could add it to a new PO. All right, for classroom purposes, I won't do that today. We'll go over POs in a different lesson. All right, you see any detail as you scroll over to the right. You can make changes and manually key in these sections or choose from your drop-down menu if necessary. Okay. And then lastly, we have other items. Now I have in my system automatically the default where we will charge $3 for shop supplies. Shop supplies are things like your gloves, grease, nuts and bolts that your technician may need to use for this job, and you can charge here. Now, if you needed, you can override by clicking on the override button. This is going to be included in my internal job for this deal, so I'm going to indicate 0 for the shop supplies, and I'm also going to indicate 0 for the because there are no environmental fees included with the hitch install. So again, that's the way you can make changes here on the other items. Now I will show you real quick. You can right click and add a sublet item. So what is a sublet? Let's say that I do a free vehicle detail with all new vehicles, and I do that with a company that I work with. Detail specialist. Now, as always, it's very important that you choose your vendor. When you have the option to choose a vendor, go ahead and make that selection so that everything will track over into your QuickBooks accurately. We're going to go ahead and click on Save. We have now completed everything on our RO. I want to point out a couple of things we did, again, for classroom purposes so that we can proceed into profit accounting. We chose the status, the overall status of this RO as closed file. On the Service Items tab, we did a double click and we made sure that the Completed button was check marked. Of course, we have our tech assigned. We chose the status of this job closed. And there's one last thing. We need to go back onto your General Information and Cash Out tab and actually close this RO. You will not be able to close out your deal until you've done these items on your RO. Now, if you'll remember, we made some adjustments on our Other tab. And the Other tab, because this was an internal work order, I showed you how we could take off the shop supplies and the environmental fees as necessary. So when you come back over, you're showing an amount of $18. So we can make that adjustment here, and I'd like to show you how this works. Anytime you need to remove a payment, you would right click and remove payment. Okay, I needed you to know how to remove a payment. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and choose the internal payment type because this is included in my deal. And then in order to get that amount into my payment box, just hit your tab or enter key. You now show a 0 balance, and now we're ready to cash out by clicking on the rubber stamp icon. You get a message, do you want to close this order? Yes. We are closing the repair order. Yes, I want to continue. All right, you will automatically get your receipts. You have your accounting receipt. The detail that you show is your dealership, the RO info. You then have your customer detail along with their vehicle information. You're showing this is your accounting copy, the job and the parts that were included. Okay, and then if you click the button at the top, it goes on to the next page showing all of your totals. And then you can print this out, necessary. Close that, and you now see where it has been closed as of June 1st. There are options at the top just to point out if you needed to send in a message. If you have text messages set up with EverLogic, you can view or add on documents if necessary. In this situation, you may not have any. You can also email your customer the detail. Okay, send that email indicating that the work order has been complete and your vehicle is ready for pickup, or any other such as you would like to include in the email. All right, and deposits. If you were going to take a deposit, view a deposit, or remove a deposit, you have options here. These are grayed out now since I have cashed this out. You can print the repair order. You can do a customer copy, an accounting copy, or vendor copy. And for the most part, that's going to be all you're using on this repair order, as it is an internal repair order. Included in the price of the vehicle. I'm now going to go ahead and close this window, and we're going to go back to sales operation, and we're going to search for this quote that we were working on. Okay, here's the search. I double click to open up my deal window again, and we're back on our deal form.